All right, everybody, welcome back. Ready to dive into another juicy topic.
Always up for a good deep dive, you know that.
This one's a real head scratcher, came from a listener question, and honestly, I got a little obsessed with it.
Oh, yeah. What are we talking about today?
Reanimation.
Reanimation. Okay, getting right into it, I see.
Right, so we're talking about Haitian voodoo and whether bringing someone back, reanimating them, is ethical or not.
And if you would want to be reanimated.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Someone actually asked that, can you believe it? So disclaimer right off the bat, we are coming at this with the utmost respect. We want to understand this tradition, this belief system, not judge it or sensationalize it.
Absolutely. Sensitivity is key here. This is about exploring another culture's perspective on life, death, and what comes after.
Okay, so first things first. When our listener says reanimation, what do you think they picture?
Oh, probably the classic Hollywood zombie, right? Like Night of the Living Dead, shuffling around, hungry for brains.
Exactly. And here's where it gets super interesting. In Haitian voodoo, reanimation, it's not really about bringing the physical body back. Not in the way we usually think of it anyway.
Right. It's more about the spiritual energy, the essence of a person being utilized in a different form.
So less flesh-eating monster, more like a continuation of their spirit's influence, but in a different way.
You could say that, yes. It's a complex concept deeply rooted in their spiritual understanding.
And this is where the ethics question gets even trickier, right? Because our listener specifically asked, is this even okay? Is reanimation ethical?
And that's such a loaded question because right away, we're imposing our own cultural and moral framework onto another culture's practices.
That's true. What might be considered ethical in one culture might be totally taboo in another.
Exactly. Within Haitian voodoo, there are definitely factors that influence ethical considerations, like the intent behind the reanimation, the relationship between the living and the dead, the role of the spirits in their community.
It's fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I can't lie. That listener question about whether we'd want to be reanimated, it kind of freaks me out a little. Makes you think about free will even after death.
It definitely challenges our assumptions about what it means to exist, to have agency even in the afterlife. And it brings up an interesting question. Does Haitian voodoo believe in consent when it comes to reanimation?
Do they? I mean, the zombies in movies, they don't exactly sign up for that gig, do they?
No, they really don't. And in many cases, Haitian voodoo belief doesn't require the deceased person's consent for reanimation either. It's more about the needs of the community, the will of the spirits, and the role of the hungan, the voodoo priest, in facilitating those connections.
See, that's what I mean about it being both fascinating and kind of unsettling. Can you imagine if someone could just, I don't know, purpose your energy after you're gone without even asking?
I understand where you're coming from. It challenges our very notion of individuality and what happens after we die. But it's crucial to remember that reanimation in Haitian voodoo isn't always about malicious intent or control. It can be about seeking guidance from ancestors, honoring their memory, even righting past wrongs.
So it's about connection, purpose, respect for those who came before.
Exactly. There are ceremonies and rituals where communication with the dead, including those who might be considered reanimated, is a central element. Think about the service of the Gay Day, for instance, a time for remembering loved ones and seeking their guidance.
It all ties back to that idea of a different worldview, right?
Yeah.
They see death and the afterlife differently than we might.
Precisely. Our own beliefs shape how we view this practice, even if we don't belong to that culture.
Makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
About how much our assumptions color our understanding of the world, especially when it comes to something as mysterious as death.
It really does.
Well, I think we've only scratched the surface here, but wow, what a deep dive.
Sure.
Listeners, if this sparked your curiosity even a little, we encourage you to do some digging of your own. We've only just begun to unpack the complexities of Haitian voodoo and the ethical questions it raises. How do you define life and death? And how would that change your view on reanimation?